It was a long time ago, before I was on some meetup, or especially that I need to talk about something about some topics. So today it will be a bit different meetup than the usual one that we are just sitting and telling some lecture. So I would like to discuss with all of you. We will have like a story time or some theater time today, because we prepare a few stories for you. We would like to connect the dots and to see what ATM, SIM card, and drugs have in common when it comes to Agile. So interesting topics. So a lot of things to cover today, but I'm encouraging you to discuss with us. It will be really great if you can have a lot of questions after each story. So stop us, interrupt us, and at any time, if you have any question or you would like to add something or to discuss with us. So today, Đurđa, my colleague, and myself will try to cover some interesting topics when it comes to Agile. So before we begin, I would like to share a few slides. So just to have a support from fellow presentation. So we was lazy, so we used some pre-made template in Canva. So sorry about that, but it will be interesting, I think. So we have theater today and some show where ATM, SIM card, and drugs will be in their role of their lives, and they will try to connect all the dots when it comes to Agile topic. So we'll have a short intro from our side, then the story time. After each story, I would like to discuss with you to see how you are thinking about those topics. Would you like to add something, to chat something with us, and then phase out in the end of the day. Around 1 hour, I think, or more, depends on your questions. We will be today, and unfortunately, you are stuck with us in next hour or so. So, Đurđa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Đurđa ARSIĆ, and as Alexander and Nemanja already said, I'm working as an Agile coach in Grow It currently. Bit of my background. When I was studying, I wanted to be a programmer, and I did that for a short period of time because my experience in those teams that I were part of was everybody worked on their own, and I didn't like it. So I figured out that I really like to work with people. And one day I found a job post that was describing one really interesting role, but I never heard about it. So it was obviously a Scrum Master role. I went there and I said, okay, I have never worked as a Scrum Master, but this is something that it seems that it will be great for me. And I studied theory before the interview. Luckily enough, they were crazy enough to hire me. And I started in a big corporation working as a Scrum Master. And after that, I worked in startups, and the last 3 years I'm in Grow It, and we will talk about it in a couple of minutes to present a company that we are running together. But the important thing, what I like about my current job is that I can work with any industry. So not only IT, that is of course something that is close to my heart, but this is through these stories, we will tell you more about Agile in different industries. So nice to have you all here tonight.
Thank you, Đurđa. She don't like that, but I will mention instead of her. She is a co-founder of Grow It, also with me. So we are all together running this agency for the last 5 years. So a bit of myself. I'm in the industry, not just Agile one, but in this industry we're all almost 10 years. From a small design agency, then programming agency, big corporations, startups, NGOs, and today running my own agency. so I can feel the pain from different sides, from different sizes of the companies. So I have maybe two parallel lives. One is running business, and the second one is cycling. I really like to sit on my bike and cycle around Serbia in the first place, but also abroad. So these days I mostly I'm describing myself as a fireman, because I am putting fire down in different situations, internally or externally. So it's easier for me to explain to my parents what I'm doing these days. But beside that, I'm working with a team on interesting projects, mostly focusing on our energy on helping companies to become more agile, whatever that means for them, because it's really different from company to company. But at the end of the day, all of them want either to be faster on the market, or to have like better quality of their output, or to have internal people more satisfied to work in those teams in those companies, or that external people or customers are more satisfied with their products or with their services. So Agile comes in place and helps them in those kind of goals or activities that they want to improve. When it comes to growth, as of today, we have 21 team members, mostly girls. So it's interesting that we have but it was in the beginning, it was like 2 or 3 guys. Everyone else was like our colleagues, our girls who helping us to achieve all of these things that we are doing. We have a lot of training hours in our hands, but that's just like minor part what we are doing. We like to say that we are in the mud with the clients, like all the day, a couple of days per week, helping them and working shoulder to shoulder together with the client in order to achieve some things, whatever that is. We are navigating through different challenges in order to achieve some results. So we started with Serbian companies in Serbian market, but these days we are covering a lot of markets abroad the Serbia. Interesting is that like 95% of the clients are non-IT clients, which is interesting because a lot of people are connecting Agile with IT. I don't see us as IT people or someone who is deeply involved in IT industry, more banking industry, financial institutions, insurance companies, telco operators, healthcare industries. So a lot of different industries that are not IT. And we like to say for us as a company, as a team, that we are 101% committed to our clients, because we think that that's awesome in the first place, but in the second place, it gives the result and the quality that customers wants from us. But enough about us. Briefly about our clients. You can see that we are covering a lot of different industries, from telco operators, healthcare industry, big four consultant house, to banks, and some FMCG companies. So a lot of different industries, but one thing in common for all of them is Agile topic. But let's see where we are when it comes to Agile. So first story for you today. Đurđa will cover first story. We will chat briefly about that story. Then we will discuss with you. Depends how many questions you have. We can continue talking about that story or to jump to next one. So Đurđa, floor is yours, first story.
Thank you, Nemanja. So I will ask you some questions. I don't know how active you are, but nevertheless, with the first story, this is one of my first teams. And I don't know, have anyone of you had the opportunity to see how a big corporation goes to Agile? Anybody experienced it? Okay, I see Goran is making some expressions. So it's a mess, I would say. I don't know, anybody else has some some idea how in the company that is a really big global company, when they decide to go agile, how it looks like. I will tell you my story. So basically the top leadership, top management decided to embrace the agile. And what they did, they said, okay, now we are going to be an agile, and that's okay. And of course, people are usually afraid of those kind of changes. And there was a big resistance in order to have an agile project. What happened? One year they said, okay, how we are going to embrace it? We will give the budget to the projects that are agile. Can you imagine what happened then? Any idea?
Everybody was agile next morning.
Exactly. So a lot of different projects, because they knew they will get budget approved, they became agile. And that was my project as well. And they had a procedure, right? In their procedure, they said, okay, if your project is an agile project, you need to have a person who is a product owner, and you need to have a person who is a Scrum Master. Obviously, they went to Scrum, right? And they did their checklist, and they said, okay, we have a product owner. This will be our project manager, right? And we are missing a Scrum Master. So this is the place where I came in place. And as I was a junior Scrum Master at that point of time, I took it really seriously. So what happened next, this project was actually running, I think, 5 years before I came. So they really needed the budget, because otherwise they were not sure they will get enough budget to continue. And they were live only in one plant at that point of time, and they were supposed to go global. That project should never be an agile project. This is my humble opinion, and I will explain why. I don't know if you heard about SAP, but this is really big system that we were dependent on. So even if we were working in an agile way, deploying and trying to be as fast as we couldn't, because this other project was only going on production 3 times a year. So being agile or not, it didn't help a lot, but nevertheless, we became an agile project. So the first day on my new project, they gave me a seat, right? And my seat was desk next to the product owner, right? And I was like, okay, asking product owner about the project. I was really enthusiastic. And at one point of time, I asked, okay, where is our team, right? And this guy answered me, they will come when we have a planning meeting. I was, okay, maybe they're sitting somewhere. And they came on planning, right? And I was asking one guy, he was from logistics, he was a process owner. And he said, oh yeah, I'm working in a building, I think it was building 8 or some number. And I was like, okay, where are you sitting? I'm sitting with my team. So he was referring to his natural team, right? Logistics. Okay, next guy was from finance. And I asked him, okay, where are you sitting? And he said, I'm in building 5. So it was the same city, same place, but different building, right? And we had process experts. I will explain you a bit what is that role. But basically, when you have a big processes, every person is responsible for one part of the process. So they really know how that process works, and they are helping basically product owner to explain what needs to be done. And in the past, they put their request, right? And they were sitting and waiting for the programmers to do their magic, right? In order for them to test. So it was really a shock for them, these agile changes, and me enthusiastic about this project. So a lot of questions on that end. And we also had the IT guys, so experts in different fields. They were sitting in the same building, but they were on different floors. So can you imagine, we were all over the place, this team, as process didn't change, and we physically didn't have any place to sit. So there were teams that were more expert knowledge, they were sitting together. And we also have one consultant, so external consultant. That was another trick, because the process in the company was this guy that is consultant, he can't sit without a name tag, and you can't schedule him a meetings, and he can only be this number of hours with us, and a lot of different processes around it. So the basic challenge that I faced was, okay, how we are going to work closely together if we don't have place to do it, and there is no communication tool. This was back in 2014, so they didn't have even Teams or Slack or somewhere how to communicate. So we communicated via emails. That was another challenge, right? So my first goal was, okay, let's see how to break the process, or how we can maybe right, we are from Balkans, so we know how to a bit go around the process. And do you have any ideas how to bring all those guys together if the company didn't change the policy that the Agile team is supposed to sit together? Any ideas how you would solve this kind of puzzle that seems weird to have at first place, because we didn't get to the project at all at that point of time? Any ideas? I will tell you what I did. So what I did, I scheduled a meeting room for the whole day. So 3 days a week, we were sitting in a meeting room that was big enough for everybody to sit together. Of course, the other teams and people were really mad at us because you know how before a COVID-19 strike, it was really hard to book those rooms. So I used some connections, and I got the room for 3 days. We were sitting all together. So that was one challenge, and that was only first one. The second one, we had 3 process experts in the team, and they're not used to work actively on project. So they are giving their request, and they are not going to discuss it with the IT guys. And I guess everybody knows here how these discussions are vital in order to understand each other. So on my let's say my idea of the solution, and I don't know still if it was the right one, I tried to include those guys as QAs of the team, because those guys can tell you if this is implemented on right way or wrong, and we can get the speed that Agile actually you can benefit from in order to go back to the IT and say, okay, this needs to be changed. So that was another step to take. So it was really hard for them. I didn't call them QAs, I can tell you that, because they were really important role in those companies. So they were helpers of the product owner, let's call them like that. So that was the second challenge. And we had the third one that was, okay, how to include Christoph in the team, because this guy is from another company and we have completely different policy about him. And there are a lot of those challenges that you are facing when trying to implement Agile way of thinking and Agile way of working without everybody understanding what Agile is. One big problem that you can also face in the company that is not yet ready, I would say, to change processes that works for them is how they're allocating resources, because there is one guy who is going through the Excel sheet, and what that guy sees are percentage, right? And for example, they ask, okay, we need one programmer, let's go with Java, it doesn't matter, right? And on his actual Excel sheet, it says, okay, this project needs 100% of Java. guys, right? I will give him Marco, he's 50% dedicated, right? I will give him Lazar, he is 30% dedicated, and I will give him Anna, she's 20%. And you have 3 people, and when you go with the, for example, Scrum, the percentages at the end doesn't meet this 100% dedication, and it gets more complicated as now 3 persons needs to come on those ceremonies, and that was one of the challenges that I think, Nemanja, correct me if I'm wrong, but it took us 1 year to solve it and to explain why it doesn't make sense. So it doesn't matter.
Still fighting with other clients, but another story.
Yeah, it's the continuous fight we have. Why I'm giving you those examples, this is the typical examples that you will face from sitting, from dedication of the people, that if the company is not familiar with the agile way of working, thinking, and usually the result is agile is not working for us, but actually they tried to implement it in the system that is old way of thinking, old way of working, and procedures that doesn't make sense in an agile environment anymore. So that's only one example. Let's say my message from and my learnings from this story is that you need to fight for the right things. So either it's a sitting, or it's like, no, you can't give 3 people in order to meet this 100% on the paper, because in the practice it doesn't make sense. Or it's okay, we don't have a place to sit, so physically we can't work together as we don't have tools and we don't have space. So either give us tools or give us space, you know. So these kind of fights are quite often, especially in the companies that are corporations. So they don't get it, and usually the result is they get burned from Agile, and then the mindset changed, and the result is, okay, Agile is not working for us, but they didn't give it the right opportunity. Any questions?
Wrong slide.
Do you know if it got better over time, over years? Do you still know like how they work today?
Of course, they did. They were just really slow. So I have a feeling that I was faster from them, and at some point of time, my knowledge didn't, let's say, grow. So that's the point in time when I decide, okay, it's really slow, I need to let it go. But of course, they progressed over the years.
I think we have Martin who raised his hand. Okay, Martin, go ahead.
Yeah. One question. When it comes to senior management, and they say we want to be agile, but then when you try to explain to them that they're still relying on old processes, what would you do if you hear the sentence, this project is 7 years and it's working, and you are how much Scrum Master, 3 or 4 months? Can you imagine the difference? What should you do then?
I can, of course. I was, I think at that point of time, I was maybe 6 months a Scrum Master. So what I did is I gave the examples how it's not working, what doesn't make sense. This example of dedicating capacity on paper, and we had another situation where they switch people every sprint. So every sprint you get different percentages of different people. So it was really hard to fight, because it was also, okay, I'm still learning, right? I don't have that kind of experience. And the issue with Agile in general is it isn't the exact science, right? Nobody will tell you what you need to do in order to solve the problem, because you're relying to some principles and some practices. So usually I give it a time. that I have enough, let's say, evidence that something is not working. And usually at that point of time, the doors are open because they see it as well. Because what we managed to do, we said, okay, we will have at least fixed people, so we are not like mixing balls and every month is a new story. And we had the rule: if somebody is less than 50% dedicated, he's not part of an Agile team. It doesn't make sense for us. So you need also to step back and to choose your fights. And I was satisfied enough with that 50% of dedication. We could do something with it, right?
Thank you.
Marco?
Marco.
Thank you. Thank you guys for amazing presentation. I think that everyone who worked in a big corporation in Agile can probably relate with 95% of the stuff that you were saying, especially with how teams are organized. My question is, from this standpoint, what would you do differently if you're about to again do that project in that kind of a setup? Would you do something differently? Would you change approach with now more experience in those situations?
Of course, now I have a bit more years of experience. I think people would get me better at least. But from my standpoint, I wouldn't go so emotionally with those fights, right? Because at that point of time, I was really stressed about it. Like I was, okay, you don't give us a space to sit. It's not fair. You didn't prepare team for an Agile way of working, because what I didn't tell you, there was really strong pushback from all team members because Agile was something new for them. So I would start with the training, for example, which I didn't do at that point of time. I said, okay, we will learn by doing it, which was maybe stressful for the team members. Regarding the company, the processes, now I have more, I understand them as well better than I used to. So I would maybe fight a bit differently. Maybe one of the examples is, okay, we would prepare the field for an Agile, so we won't go overnight because somebody tick one box that the project is Agile, and from day one we are Agile. We need the preparation time for everybody. So that's some things that come to my mind at the first thought about it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions? Or move to another story?
We have more stories, so.
Thank you for questions. And maybe to add one thing from my side, I will assume that there is a lot of Scrum Masters and Agile coaches on this call, on this meetup. So we are here to expand our knowledge and to have more tips and tricks how to do things. One thing that will never be outdated, doesn't matter if we are Scrum Masters or not. But if we want to make some change, we need to push things. We cannot just wait for them to be differently, to be different. So we need to fight. We call that fights, but we can call them whatever we like. But we need to fight for some things, for our rights, for the rights of our team, for our team space or whatever. So without fight, nobody will take us seriously, especially if we are Scrum Masters. We need to shake the organization and then shake the someone who wants things to be different. So you cannot make a change just because you're here. Yeah, I'm a Scrum Master, let's follow this process. That will not work. So we need to do things a bit harder than some others. So, but enough from my side. Thank you, Đurđa. But we will, why again I'm opening this? That was story number one. So final act for this play was always be ready to fight. So you as a Scrum Master should fight all the time for the things in the organizations. Doesn't matter if you're internal or external. Story number two. What does Agile mean for one branch? So let's see what ATM have in common when it comes to Agile. So I will stop presentation. It will be easier for me to talk with you like this. So this one was a bit more what happens when someone hires you for the domain that you are not the expert. So this bank wanted and wants and is they are doing for their branches Agile way of working for them. So now forget about Jira, about dev teams, about dev projects, about developers, programmers. Now we have a physical space, physical branch. We have cashier people who are paying and giving you money for something, and the bank and the management, they want to go Agile. So what Agile means for them, how to make some physical space goes Agile. What does that mean? So in the first place, when we are working as a Scrum Masters, as Agile coaches, doesn't matter what the title is. I will call us and you Agile people. We are Agile Humans Meetup, so we are Agile people. So, okay, you are in your company right now in one domain, doesn't matter whatever that is. But at some point of your life, at your work time, you will be asked to work on something that it's not closely to you. You don't know that by heart. We don't know by heart how one branch is works. So in order to help them, we need to learn about that domain. So I'm not that fully convinced. Yeah, we as a Scrum Master, we don't need to know anything about that domain. Yeah, you can help those people, but on a certain level. If you want fully to help them as much as possible, you need at some point to understand what they're doing. Because if you learn about that domain, you can more easier to see where the pains are and why those pains are really the pains. Just one example. At one branch, it was really painful for them to move a printer from one floor to another. And I was like, and that was like action item for retrospective. I was like, okay, guys, but let's move them printer to another floor. Then when I started talking with them to go to the root cause, why they are not moving the printer, then I had like aha moment. Okay, now I understand. I will not uncover what is that because it's confidential. But the point is, you need to go deep into some problem, into some pain to understand why is the pain. So it doesn't matter which domain is, we as Agile people, we need at certain point to understand and to learn about those domains in order to achieve some results and to help them. So now we are in the phase, okay, they hire us or they try to hire us to help them. We was like, okay, we don't know anything about that domain, but we will try to learn as much as possible and to help you. So that's another maybe point. First one, always fight. Second point is be brave enough to try new things. Because everyone is talking, yeah, but I don't have enough challenges at my work, and when challenge is in front of them, ooh, it's a challenge. So yeah, it's a challenge in front of us, big mountain. Let's see how we can go on the top of the mountain. So we started thinking, okay, we have a physical space, physical branch. Let's see what Agile can be for them. Then we invest a lot of time, couple of months, just sitting in the branch and talking with those people to understand how branch is working, to see who is moving where, what is happening, where are the struggles, when the rush hour is, how they're behaving. So a lot of things just to understand how they are behaving at that moment. When we learned that, okay, we started to design a new process for them. We decided in the beginning, let's not use any of Agile terms, any of Agile frameworks, any of the Agile buzzwords. Yeah, you will have a backlog on your whiteboard, you will have a Scrum Master, a product owner, and that will work in sprints. It will not. because if they hear about those buzzwords, about those things, they will be afraid. And the worst thing you can do when you're working with someone that is something new for them, just to throw a bunch of buzzwords on the table, that will work. Trust me, I'm an engineer. So that will not work. So we decided, okay, in the background, it will be some kind of Scrum process tailor-made for them, for that branch. But at any point of time, we will not tell them, yeah, you are using Scrum, you are using sprints, you are using, I don't know, you have a Scrum Master, you have a product owner, blah, 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 blah. Then we started introducing one by one thing. So first thing that we did, it was like, okay, let's see how you are planning things. And we figure out that their cycle is 1 month. After each month, they're looking on the results, what was before. We was like, okay, this is our cadence. Let's start with 1 month sprints. Then we will decrease to the lower pace or to higher pace. So first was introducing planning meeting. Then the good thing was they had a morning meeting every morning before branch is open. And this was like, yeah, it's daily stand-up for us. Okay, let's just tweak it to be more agile. So everything they did, we tried to tweak more and more to be more agile than it was before. The main challenge, so you are not maybe thinking about that right now, but it's a really challenge to have a morning meeting because branch is working from 9 to 5, usually. In order to start at 9, they need to come earlier, half an hour before, to prepare things in order at 9 a.m. bench should be open. You cannot be, I'm a bit late, 15 minutes to my work, and let me just drink coffee and we will start working. There is no such thing in physical branch. 9 a.m. you have a lot of people, a queue of people who's waiting for you to serve them. It was like, okay, what we should do in order to have daily stand-up. So you cannot have a daily stand-up in the middle of the day. Just gather everyone together, we have a daily stand-up. Your clients just wait for us. They don't understand that. So it was a really challenge to see how you will have that daily meeting. I will not speak about retrospective or review meeting. So it was really a challenge to see how we can manage time allocation of those people. So yeah, it was a really challenge, a really big challenge, but don't want to go too deep on that story. But the point is, we are not, at least I was not aware how much challenge can be for someone to have 15 minutes, some stand-up meeting. So we as agile people should always look on a broader picture, what is behind it. My first reaction was, what is the problem to have a 15 minutes meeting? Yeah, altogether will, and then, who will work then in the branch? So this was interesting topic. So ceremonies, okay, we figure out how to do some ceremonies to navigate for that branch. Then it comes to roles. So what we should do with roles. The biggest change for the branches was introducing Scrum Master. We didn't call that Scrum Master, and it's not called Scrum Master these days. We have some random name. We don't want to throw another buzzword. Yeah, you are a Scrum Master. So we decided to go with completely different name. We call that Agile person. Doesn't matter. It's some other name, but it's not important for this discussion today. But my point is, don't stick to some Scrum guide because Chess Sutherland said that it should call Scrum Master. Why? Let's call it X, but give that person the same responsibility, same activities that one Scrum Master should do inside one team. It can be done inside the branch. But this was like the biggest change for them in the beginning, because that means for them, one person will be a Scrum Master and not doing anything related to their current position. So they will not do any caching, any I don't know, loans or whatever the branch is doing. So this was like the biggest change for them, and to convince them they need that person. And the third, maybe even bigger change for the branch, it was org structure. So how org structure looked like 6 months ago in that bank? We have a big pyramid. That pyramid, you have one person, it's a branch manager, and you have like cashiers that are working beneath him or her. And it was like, okay, in order to be agile as a branch, you don't need branch manager. So our biggest struggle and the biggest challenge was removing or delayering hierarchical structure. So nowadays, they have 3 to 5 branches and one person who is responsible for managing those 3 to 5 branches. They don't have one branch manager per one branch. The biggest change for the branch. And one thing that has happened in the beginning, it was chaotic. Who is doing what? Who to ask for this? I used to ask my branch manager for that. I used to ask him for this and that. It's chaotic in the beginning, but in order to manage that chaos, you need process, you need system behind that. So we tailor-made agile approach for that branch in order to manage the house. And it was covering these points. First one, ceremonies, then roles, then org design. If you nail those 3 things, doesn't matter if you are ATM, a bank, or I don't know, whoever, you can succeed with implementation of Agile, but you just need to, again, from the first story, choose your fights and to see for which things to fight and which things to park, because you cannot fight for everything. And you, with your client, with your customer, doesn't matter if it's internal or external, put some contract, you can call it contract, what you want to achieve at the end of the day. What is the result? What is the output? So what is the Agile for the branch? For us, it was like, okay, minimum things, minimum Agile from our point of view is you need to change ceremonies, you need to change roles, you need to change org design in order to be more Agile than yesterday. And this is just first layer. Okay, now we are 6 months after big changes. Let's see what is the next step. Then we will see what will be the next step for Agile inside branches. Maybe it will be, I don't know, let's start with teams goals, not just individual goals, bottom-up target setting, blah, blah, blah. Can be anything you like, but again, needs to be in correlation with the bank and what they want to achieve. We started with, I think, 4 branches in the pilot, then 12. At the end of this year, it will be 37, all of them. So that is telling us that whatever we did, they have good results, that at the end of the day, sales is better, and that is working for them. So you can have a branch without branch manager, you can have a Scrum Master inside branches, you can have Agile ceremonies, and applying some Agile principles and values. Doesn't matter that you don't call them like that. They have whiteboard, they have backlog, they have plannings, morning meetings, reviews, retrospectives. They don't have one big boss, so it's possible. But it was really a fight, really a struggle to come to the point where they will say, yeah, now that works for us, let's scale it to all the branches that we have. So yeah, enough from my time, from my side. So just one story how Agile is working inside branch and what we did, like some portions of the project that we did in order to achieve some kind of agility for that branch. Any questions?
So I have a question. So that was basically a process improvement and also the implementation of partial Agile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and also I want to ask regarding the managers, the branch managers, which roles did they take afterwards? Because apparently they lost their jobs, or they were moved to some other positions, or because in the Agile, as you know, I mean, everyone are equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to them?
Yeah, Questions on point. So just pause for a second. Small side story, then I'll answer on questions. We as Growit, as agile people that are external to some customers, we are not the favorite one, to say like that. What does that mean? That means that our work is as a result, we have some changes. People are not happy with changes, whatever we are. So some changes will cause that some people will either they by themselves quit, or they will be like out from that company because they don't want to change. In order to achieve some change, you need someone that are across of you that wants to embrace that change. If they will push back all the time, in the end of the day, you will split your ways on this or on this side. So now back to your questions. What happened with branch managers in the first place? So there was some of them that they perceived this change as degradation, because our proposal was, okay, you are not now a branch manager. You can be either one of that persons who will manage 3 to 5 branches. So you don't have executive right like to lead one branch. We know in this round that this is those people are product owners, but we don't call them inside branch like that. So you can be one of the product owners. That's one. Second one is you can be like cashier or someone who is working on a blagajna. I don't know English word for blagajna. So someone who will sell the things, sell the products, sell the services. Or third point, you can choose another position inside bank that is not related to your job, but you cannot stick to your old branch manager role. So this is like 3 solutions from our side, but the solution that was not on the table was to stick to your old branch manager role. And it was some people who are, yeah, I would like to change. And then we started working with them in order to do some coaching, some feedback sessions, blah, 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 in order to change slightly how they're thinking and how they're behaving with the team, that not just ordering the things, you do that, you do this, then to start thinking and behaving differently. And then they figure out this is not for me. They don't want to do it that way. They are doing like 20, 25 years, like in one manner, and they don't want to change it because they have like maybe 10 more years when they are in the pension in English. So they just resign. So with people that are called branch manager role, this happens. And I forgot about other questions. So first was about
no, that was the question. I mean, the process improvement, and also, yes, what happened to the people that were on higher positions. Yeah. I mean, that happens if you want to get, I mean, the process improved. And of course, as you said, a lot of people don't want to change. They want to stick on their common practices. So yeah, that is inventable.
Unfortunately, I'm saying unfortunately, some people will lose their jobs, but they will lose their jobs only if they don't want to improve themselves. They don't want to learn new things. I like one sentence from Sundar Pichai. It's called the current CEO of Google. When he took over that role like a couple of years ago, he said one sentence. It was like, maybe I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. For the last 15 years, the only constant in Google is change. So they're changing all the time. And doesn't matter if you're a bank, if you're, I don't know, in Growit, in Agile Humans, if you're not changing, if you're not willing to learn new things, then in this world, in this, I don't know, business world, there is no place for us. Some more questions? Yeah, maybe just to final act. So like the biggest learning for us was, I didn't maybe mention that, they are going in a second. So you need full-time Scrum Masters, or call them whatever you like, but give them like Scrum Master responsibility in order to achieve some kind of agilization. And don't make huge changes at the same time. We maybe tried, let's introduce new roles, new org charts, new org design, blah, 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 blah. People will be afraid. So I like the story of cooking frog. So start cooking frog on a slow water, and after a while, that frog will be cooked. So don't do that immediately and at the same time. Goran.
Yeah, this is really a great story. I'm wondering about the business results.
Yeah.
And you know, you said like sales got better, but like two things I'm interested in. First, I can suppose like maybe at some point even results went down or something. Like what was the, you know, the journey there? And I'm thinking of like, how did you manage, you know, that's an experiment, but how did you manage, you know, what did it take to, outside of that experiment, stakeholders or something? What did they need to do, or what did you ask of them in order for the experiment to succeed?
Yeah, cool question. So first one, we don't have exact results, so they don't giving us that just to compare. But what we know and what we notice. First, what happened with external customers? Because you have 4 branches, and we decide deliberately which branches we will use. But what happens with one branch, that Agile branch was close enough to non-Agile branch, and customer is entering, and a lot of changes is happening for the customer. I didn't mention that at all, but a lot of changes for them also. They're like, you cannot, you are not doing like the old way. Okay, I will go to another branch, and they are just going to another non-Agile branch. Because one of the big part of agilization of the branches was removing the blagajna,
Cash desk.
Cash desk. Yeah.
Cash register.
Cash register. So that was the biggest change for the external customers. So you now have a customer who is entering the bank, and I want to pull my money. And they are telling you, you cannot go to that your personal banker. You need to go to ATM. So one of the big part, but that's part of digitalization, not agilization of the branch, was removing the cash desks, and everyone is going to ATM. That was a huge change for customers, and they were like just moving away from Agile branch and going to non-Agile branch. But after a while, then we figure out, okay, we need to educate a lot for our external customers. Then we educate when he's entering to branch. First, let's talk. We have a few changes. Let's introduce these changes. What is benefit, pros and cons for you as a customer? And after a while, they was like, but I have a lot of values from your Agile change, and they stick to the bank. One number that is popping out around, but I don't have again in written form. 7% of the clients, they just delete their account from that bank and move to another bank. But bank was brave enough to be okay with losing 7% of their customers, because on a grand scheme, on a macro level, they will have more. So this is in regards to financial results. What was the another question? So my brain is not working today.
The stakeholders. So like, what kind of support did you need to ask?
Yeah. First one, second one, and the third one, communication. So we work a lot with them to prepare the communication, internal and external, what the change means for those people. So you're introducing a new roles. So what does that mean for them? Pay grade, bonuses, incentive scheme. So what will happen with them? So a lot of communication internally, then preparation of those current branches. In order to be more agile, you need to move things around. First, interior, you need whiteboards, you need different space for those people, because you will have different Agile rooms that are different to the previous ones. You need to train those people, because they are not anymore bench managers. They are not anymore just people who are sitting on a cash desk and doing payments and payouts. So a lot of training and education when it comes to those new way of working. And the third one is that was the hardest one for them, giving us opportunity to hire full-time Scrum Masters, because it was shock for them. How do you mean they will not work as a cashiers? Or doesn't matter if you don't have a cash desk, you are still need to sell something in somehow. So this was like maybe the biggest change for them and the biggest fight that we had in the beginning. Đurđa, you want to add something?
If I may add, one of the biggest change that is, I think, common in any, let's say, team switching to an agile way of working is the responsibility of a team. So now the team is responsible for their success, right? And you have the same issues as any other team that you might face. So basically you will have guys who will hide behind that team, right? You will have the guys who are not satisfied, or they're telling, okay, that is not part of my job, right? There's somebody, in this case, branch manager, who is responsible. I'm not paid to be responsible, right? So you have a lot of common signature marks of an agile implementation, as well as in any other team. But I think one of the great results is that this change actually affected a lot of people working in a branch. So their satisfaction, based on the feedback that we received from them as well, is they're much more satisfied because they're organizing their day. Not somebody that is telling you, okay, you need to sell this and this today. But you are managing to see how you are going to achieve some goals on your own. So there is no one way, right? We have different ways to achieve it. And that's I personally like that change that affected that team and people inside of the team.
Few more stories. Third one. This one is interesting.
Okay, I will start with the third one. So there is a catchy script for this one, how to sell drugs online, right? So I think, well, I know that every industry had some effects from COVID-19. Have you thought about the change that it happened to the pharma companies? Do you know how pharma companies work? What is their job on daily level?
Sell drugs.
And how they are doing it?
By person.
By person. So if you're working in a pharma company, usually your job is not to go to the office. You're going on the field. That means you're going to hospitals, and you are talking every day with doctors. And what happened with them? Can you imagine you're working this way for 20, 30 years, and what is happening from that day, you can't do it. So you don't know what to do basically with yourself. At that point of time, we worked with one client, helping them adopt agile way of thinking, agile way of working, building a mindset and everything. So at that point of time, I think they basically stopped. So they didn't know how to act. They didn't know what to do. And we also changed our way of thinking and doing it, because at that point of time, we saw their need, because they don't know how to work online. And it's not like they don't have even tools to work online. That was one challenge for them. They don't know how. They had a workshop before that, but they're all in person. The second problem that they faced, also doctors don't know how to use the tools. They don't know how to work in this kind of environment. So really big challenge and really big mindset change over the night. So it was really interesting for us, because what we did on Grow It Hand, we said, okay, our client really has a huge problem. So they can't work, basically. And you remember Agile principles, and one of them is, if something, right, change on your client side, you need to change as well. So what we did, we completely changed our business model. So we didn't teach them how to be an Agile by a theory and some process and everything. So we said, okay, first let's learn how to work online, because we have our roots in IT. We are very aware how to do it. But these guys were not. So I think for 2 months, what we did, we teach people to use Zoom, to use whiteboards, to organize workshops, to facilitate those workshops online. Some basic things you would see, but that made a huge impact to them, to our clients, and they were really satisfied that we were there for them, even if that is not our business model, to teach people how to work in online environment, right? And this story is quite short, but it has really big impact, and I think this is what I want to do on every day, to see, okay, how in Grow It we are living these Agile values, and how we are implementing it with working with our client. So basically what we did, we taught, I think, a lot of doctors to use Miro boards, to participate actively on the workshops. We helped these connections to be maintained during, let's say, crisis mode, because it wasn't change for, I don't know, few weeks. It was for more than a year they worked in this new environment, and it affected their business a lot, as well as their daily job. And yeah, that's the short story. I don't know if you have any questions. The important thing that is our learning point from it is, you can't believe that you don't need to change way of working, that something is guaranteed, right? And I think if I ask you before COVID-19, you would maybe have a different opinion, right? I don't need to change. But if really big change happens, it doesn't mean, I thought I would never see whole world stop, but it stopped, right? So you need to adapt to the new conditions, and especially if that is happening with your customer, then you need to see how to help them and to overcome that obstacle on their way. So they really changed overnight their way of thinking, way of working, and they were, let's say, their mindset was in the right place, because they were eager to accept the new conditions. So, any questions?
Maybe to add some so I don't know, can you put in the shoes of the surgeons and the doctors and the people who are operating people, and they don't used to use online tools? So for us, it's maybe unnatural. Okay, you just click share the button, send the link, open Miro board. You know you need to change the arrow because it's a hand in the beginning. You need to make it as an arrow in order to move things around. And one thing is that you can see a lot of arrows on other people because you have 20 people brainstorming. And for us, it's natural. And for the people that are not used, they will, my mouse is moving. I have a lot of mouses on my table. What is happening? I cannot move things around. And it's chaotic. Then we learn, if you have people that are not used to those kind of tools, you first need to invest 10 minutes at least to teach them. Now you use M button on your keyboard. With left mouse, you're doing that. With right click of the mouse, you're doing that. Zoom in, pinch out, pinch in, blah, blah, blah. So maybe it's a basic thing, but for them it's big like house, because they are not like every day in those tools. So it's far beyond Agile. It's common sense for us, but for them is, yo, we are now Agile because we are using Miro. For them it's Agile, you know. So that's a side story. Questions for Đurđa? Sorry for jumping in. It was our last story, so shoot with the question to Đurđa or to me. So maybe to share is like, forget about it, how it's written. So in online world, it's completely different than offline. Your processes and procedures need to change. They cannot stick the same in online world.
Did the sale of medications went up?
At least
that.
stay the same. Otherwise, it wouldn't work at all.
That's interesting question overall, not just for this project. Everything that we are doing, everything that you are doing as Scrum Masters, as Agile coaches, tell me if I'm wrong or teach me. I want to learn also something. But how to directly connect everything that we are doing as Agile that are directly connected to financial results. I don't see direct change, direct increase of some revenue. Even if we have some case studies, for one bank, we improved 300% process. So it was faster, 300%. We developed in 6 months 12 features. Before that, there was like producing 2 to 4 features in 1 year. 12 features in 6 months. Yeah, they are faster. Yeah, they are selling maybe more things. Is that the right things? I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. So if you have any metrics and anything you share, I would like to hear.
Yeah, that's one of the what I call it struggles that we have, how to prove that what we do make the direct result. You know, how we know that we are doing right things is that the clients are satisfied and they continuously want to work new things with us. Sometimes we need to say stop. You're not ready for some things. Let's make it work so far. But it's also for us question mark: are we making the right impact? Because some things we can prove by numbers, or we know, for example, satisfaction rate of the employee is better. But is it how that affects the business? We don't know. We don't have these exact metrics. So I would like to hear if somebody has some examples.
I think I can add. I think I can add an example, but I think it's often this. Often there's a question from a client. Okay, how will we measure your success? And then there's this hard conversation of, well, I think what helps is what are you measuring now? And it turns out they're not measuring a lot, or they're just measuring wrong things. And then say, okay, and how will you know the difference? I think that this, at least employee satisfaction, a lot of companies do it in some way. It can be seen if it's different, and I think I've seen that happening. Speed, yes, but like I think what Nemanja, what you said, I think speed of what? Just, if it's garbage in, garbage out, so like we're producing garbage more quickly. But again, how do you measure business value? But I think those are the good conversations to start having. I think it's a lot about educating customers about like, well, yeah, okay, you're realizing you're not measuring the impact of any change you do in the company. So what could you do potentially? Some workshops and stuff. I agree. It's really hard to explain in a lot of levels. What's happening. Hard to measure.
And there is also two maybe different things. One is for that case that was really faster, producing more things. After project, it was successful from that point, from speed point of view. They didn't continue with Agile inside that team. So it was interesting. But another bank, with the new process, we made a lot of changes. And it was like really great example for us. Okay, this is why we are doing things. We was moving things around a lot, and at some point one guy was approaching me and it was like, Nemanja, can I tell you something? Yeah, Pavle, his name. Yes, Pavle, sure. What's happening? You know, I just want to thank you. After 7 years, my voice is heard. So we design a system behind where his voice is now transparent. Guys, I'm telling you this because before that it was like buried in some emails, some Excel sheets, blah, blah, blah. And now we have a process that is saying, if Pavle is saying something, we need to hear that. Let's explore that that case. So it was like, yeah, this is why we are doing things, to enable good people with good ideas that their voice is heard. Let me then maybe,
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just asking if anybody has any more questions.
Guys, we are close to the end, so now.
I have a few more things. Sorry, Alexander.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to wrap up the things. So just to answer on the first question from the meetup. So what ATM, SIM card, and ROGs have in common? If you ask me or Đurđa, we think that Agile values, Agile principles, and Agile people are in common for all of these things. So it doesn't matter which industry, what you are doing, with whoever you are doing, at the end of the day, we are talking about the same Agile values and principles. Maybe we will not use them, or maybe we will not succeed in implementing all of them. But in the end of the day, we are aiming to succeed with majority of them. And that's the whole point. So always stick back to, and if you don't know what you're doing, open Agile Manifesto and see what it's saying, and try to go to the root cause, to deeply understand what is behind that principle and that value, and you are on a good path. Thank you for listening. Maybe we can chat more if Alexander allow us. If not, you will have our emails here. If you need any further conversation or any question, we will be glad to answer all of them. And thank you so much.
Guys, feel comfortable to ask any questions if you have, because we are close to the end. So now
you feel brave enough after Alexander's.
Well, I wanted to ask some questions, but it's a little bit broader topic, so we don't have time. So, yeah. But I will just ask. So, for example, you implement the Agile and everything, so everything is going well for 3 years, and then afterwards, it's a time for scale. How you do it then?
Nice. Đurđa wants to jump in.
Well, you need, we like to say, okay, nail it before you scale it. So you will never see us scaling it from the beginning if people are not familiar with an Agile way of working. Then I would say, okay, when you go to the scaling Agile, you as a Scrum Master, that is my experience, and I'm sad that usually companies do not use this opportunity, because you know how people in the team are functioning, where are the good connections, how to make successful and good teams. And then I would use people who are, let's say, who have that mindset, and from them make two teams that need to work on the same product, like first step of scaling. And I wouldn't use any complex scaling processes, I would maybe use Scrum of Scrums, like first collaboration step. Then you go next step and see what you need. If you are integrating something, maybe Nexus, if you are working and you want to, if the company is small enough and you want to have like at one point of time, whole company scaled, you try, you see what is working, you can make your own Agile framework. So that's not forbidden. There are so many of them, and we are using 2 or 3 most in the world, and that's it. For others, we don't know. And my personal opinion, you can make it on your own, what makes sense for the team, for the company, following Agile values and principles. And that's the only thing you need. How to, if you need to fight with, I mean, fight, it's not, if you need to discuss and make it together with, you need leadership on that side. So you can't do it without them. So they need to be on the same ship as you in order for that to succeed. And I would go with the step by step. So as I mentioned, if you nail the Scrum or any other framework, then you're ready for the next step, and that's scaling teams.
Maybe to add, Alexander, sorry, a few more minutes. First, a lot of, especially external consultants, when our consulting clients use word hybrid, you can do hybrid model of Agile. Don't use that fucking word, because if you tell that word to some big corporations, yeah, you can use hybrid model. In the heads of corporations, yeah, we can stick to our structure, just put a bit of Agile above, and that's it. So don't use hybrid word, that first one. Don't use big bangs. Yeah, from tomorrow morning, everyone is Agile. No. So start with pilot teams. In those pilot teams, what you need to achieve. First, those teams should have Scrum Masters. Second, product owners. Doesn't matter which framework you're using. Those people should be full-time roles. So not doing 100 different things in parallel. Then team members should be 100% allocated. So 100% allocated. That's the biggest struggle for the companies. If you don't have that, don't go scale. If you have those things, then you can roll out, but roll out with best practices from those pilot teams. Don't copy paste everything that you have in those pilot teams, because it will not work. You need to have like foundation, the same for them, for all of the teams, but not everything from A to Z, because it will not work. And if you nail, like Đurđa said, that basics, then you can use whatever framework you like, but don't go with safe. Anything else is fine, and then you will be okay.
Thank you, Nemanja. This was very good.
Okay,
guys, we are at the end of tonight's meetup. So there are a couple of last words I would like to add. So you probably all know that one of the most important principles of Agile humans is human being. So in that name, I would like to thank you for your participation tonight. Thank you for your beautiful questions. Thank you for your attention. And I hope this meetup was inspiring to all of you, and that we have learned some new informations. I would like also, on behalf of Agile Humans, to thank to Nemanja and Đurđa, and to say sweet words that working or cooperating with them on a daily basis is a beautiful job. It's always so inspiring, and you always have to learn something new of these people, and they're beautiful as they look, and having them as colleges, if I can say like that, is one of the most beautiful things that could happen in my life, and I'm pretty sure that cooperation with them would be enjoyable for everyone else. So guys, with these words, I'm finishing this meetup, and thank you for your participating. See you next time. Have a nice evening.
Bye, everyone.
And guys,
thank you, guys. Bye. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.